I should have known the storm was coming the moment I saw my mug in the trash. Not because it was expensive. It wasn't. It was chipped, faded, and a little embarrassing, honestly. A ceramic mug that read, "World's Okayest Boss." I'd owned it longer than some of the people now managing me had been out of college. But it wasn't the mug itself that mattered. It was how it was placed. Right on top. Not buried. Not accidental. A message, left where I couldn't miss it. My name is Rachel. And after 18 years at this company, someone had just decided to tell me I no longer belonged. It was Monday morning, 7:30 a.m., when I walked into the break room at Orion Nexus Systems. A billion-dollar tech company downtown. Glass walls. Exposed concrete. Motivational slogans etched into steel. The kind of place that likes to talk about innovation while quietly panicking about quarterly numbers. I smelled burnt coffee, heard the low hum of fluorescent lights, and saw my mug sitting there, surrounded by coffee grounds and last Friday's sandwich wrappers. Spring cleaning. The voice came from behind me. Bright. Cheerful. Practiced. Caitlin stood in the doorway. 32. Newly appointed head of HR. Her suit was perfectly tailored, sharp enough to draw blood. Her smile didn't reach her eyes. "We're refreshing the workspace culture." I didn't look at her right away. I picked up the mug, rinsed it slowly under the sink, dried it with a paper towel. 18 years of muscle memory. "Refreshing," I said. "That's one word for it." She'd been here 3 weeks, and everything already felt different. The candy bowl at reception was gone. Encourages unhealthy habits. Desk plants were banned. Fire hazard. Work from home Fridays, something we fought years to get, were suddenly under review for productivity alignment. None of it was random. These weren't changes. They were signals. "Actually, Rachel, this is perfect timing," Caitlin said, tapping her tablet. "I've been meaning to talk to you about some of your department's legacy processes." Legacy. In tech, that word doesn't mean experienced. It means obsolete. Replaceable. "My team runs the core operational infrastructure," I said, placing the mug into the brand new dishwasher she'd ordered because the old one was inefficient. "We keep the lights on." "Oh, absolutely," she replied, tilting her head like she was studying a case file. "But I've noticed something interesting in the org chart. Your department has the highest average tenure in the company. Incredible loyalty." "Truly. But innovation thrives on fresh perspectives, don't you think?" I'd build my team carefully. People who knew which system would collapse if you touched the wrong configuration. People who answered their phones at 3 in the morning without complaint. People who helped turn this company from a scrappy startup into a public tech darling. To Caitlin, they were expensive cells in a spreadsheet. "Fresh perspectives matter," I said evenly. "So does knowing which cable not to unplug." Her laugh chimed, brittle and sharp. "You're wise, Rachel. We should really talk about knowledge transfer. Succession planning is critical for continuity. Knowledge transfer. Corporate code for teach us everything you know before we replace you with someone cheaper." Over the next few days, I watched her work. Caitlin moved through the company like a precision instrument. Senior architect? Suddenly his code reviews required additional oversight. Infrastructure lead who'd been here since day one? Her cloud permissions were downgraded to read-only without explanation. Each move documented. Each cut clean. The pattern was obvious. Target the veterans. Create friction. Build paper trails. Then remove them quietly. But Caitlin made one fatal mistake. She assumed I was just another aging engineer who'd grown too comfortable to notice the knife sliding between my ribs. She didn't know I'd survived 3 mergers, 2 hostile takeovers, and a CEO who once tried to sell our intellectual property to a competitor overseas. She didn't know I'd learned the hard way to keep receipts. That afternoon, I opened a folder buried deep in my personal cloud storage. I'd labeled it insurance years ago, back when I still believed verbal promises meant something. Inside were contracts, emails, board minutes. 18 years of corporate archaeology. And then I saw it. A dusty PDF from 2005. My original employment agreement. Clause 19A. I read it once. Then again. Then I smiled. Caitlin wanted to play corporate chess. She just didn't know the game had already been decided. The first move came on Tuesday at 2:45 p.m. Marcus, my senior engineer, messaged me. Can't access deployment configs. Says I need new permissions. I checked my own access. Still intact. But when I tried to grant his permissions, the system rejected the request. Pending HR approval. Since when does HR control technical permissions? That same afternoon, the weekly operations meeting I'd run for 5 years vanished from my calendar. In its place was a new invite. Hosted by Bradley, a junior product manager who'd been here 6 months and still confused load balancers with coffee machines. Caitlin suggested I take point going forward, his email read. Fresh eyes and all. You're welcome to attend if you're free. If I'm free. I forwarded the email to my personal account and filed it away. Thursday, every purchase order I submitted bounced back. New requirement. Secondary approval from HR as server upgrades I'd greenlit solo for years now needed Caitlin's blessing. Just streamlining governance, she said brightly when I confronted her. Especially important for compliance. I understood perfectly. Slow me down. Make me look ineffective. Document every delay as resistance to change. Then came Monday. The all-hands meeting. Innovative organizational design, the invite said. Caitlin filled the whiteboard with circles and arrows. Cross-functional synergy. Matrix alignment. And buried beneath the buzzwords was the poison pill. All technical decisions would now route through a newly formed innovation council. Staffed entirely by her hand-picked MBA hires. Who's on call when production crashes at 3 in the morning? I asked. The council, she said, smiling. Automated workflows don't debug kernel panics, I replied. They don't negotiate with vendors when we're burning cash. Let's take this offline, she said, smile tightening. After the meeting, my access card stopped working. Security blamed a system update. My admin rights were flagged for review. Cloud credentials queued for rotation. Death by 1,000 cuts. Each one defensible. Each one documented. She was good. I'll give her that. But while Caitlin built her case against me, I was building something else. I made a call. It's Rachel, I said. They're about to trigger 19A. There was a pause on the line. Then a low whistle. Do they even know what that clause does? No, I said calmly. And they're about to find out. That night, I backed up my personal files, organized my desk, and waited. Caitlin thought she was pushing me out of the game. She had no idea she was pushing me toward the biggest payday of my life. The email arrived the following Tuesday at 3:17 p.m. No subject line. No agenda. Just a calendar invite. 15 minutes. Tomorrow morning. From Caitlin. Looking forward to our touchpoint. Even her euphemisms had euphemisms. I stared at the screen and smiled. Touchpoint meant execution. She was ready. And so was I. That night, I slept better than I had in weeks. Not because I felt safe. Because I felt prepared. Like a chess player watching their opponent push a pawn without realizing the board was already lost. I organized my desk, packed my personal items, and left a small note taped under my keyboard. Emergency runbooks are in the shared vault. Password labeled RH. My team would need them soon. Wednesday morning, 9:58 a.m., I walked toward the HR wing. Glass walls. Fresh paint. The scent of artificial citrus and quiet panic. Through the door, I could see Caitlin arranging papers with surgical precision. An empty cardboard box sat beside her chair. Not subtle. She wanted me to see it. "Rachel, please have a seat," she said, gesturing to the lower chair across from her desk. Power play. Basic. Predictable. "Can I get you anything? Water? Coffee?" "I'm fine." She folded her hands, savoring the moment. "I wanted to talk honestly about your future here at Orion Nexus Systems. 18 years is an incredible run. Truly. But as we evolve, we need alignment with our forward-looking strategy." She slid a document across the desk. A performance improvement plan. Backdated. Signed by people I'd never worked with. 60 days to demonstrate growth in categories so vague they could mean anything. Collaboration mindset. Change readiness. Innovation engagement. "This is dated incorrectly," I said calmly. "I've never seen this." "Oh, we emailed it to your company account," she replied, feigning concern. Sometimes systems fail. The irony was almost poetic. "Caitlin," I said, leaning back. "We both know what this is. Let's skip the theater." Her smile flickered. Just for a second. Then she straightened. "Fine." She opened another folder. Thicker. Heavier. "Your position has been eliminated as part of restructuring. Today is your last day. Security will escort you after you sign." The severance offer was insulting. 3 months' pay. Cobra coverage. A non-disclosure agreement tight enough to silence a hostage. I read every line slowly, letting the silence stretch. Her phone buzzed. The all-hands meeting was ending. People would be returning to their desks soon. "I need to make a call," I said. "If you don't sign today, you forfeit the severance." "I understand." I dialed. "James." "It's happening." I kept my eyes on Caitlin as I spoke. Her confidence wavered when she heard the word lawyer. I ended the call and placed the unsigned papers back on her desk. "I'm not signing anything." Her phone lit up. Then her laptop. Then the desk phone. One notification after another. Color drained from her face. "What did you do?" she whispered. "Clause 19A, I said quietly. Automatic acceleration of all unvested equity upon involuntary termination after 15 years. At current market value. Roughly $65 million. She stared at me like the floor had vanished beneath her. "Your move," I said, standing. Outside her office, the security guard waited, looking deeply uncomfortable. "Morning," I said pleasantly. "Beautiful day, isn't it?" As we walked past the break room, I saw my team gathered in silence. I gave them a small nod. They didn't know it yet, but everything was about to change. By the time I reached my car, my phone was exploding. Missed calls. Texts. Slack notifications I no longer had access to but could still see. I ignored all of it and drove home. 12 minutes later, I poured myself a glass of wine and opened my laptop. James called within minutes. They're panicking. Legal, finance, the board. Everyone. They should be, I said. The CFO called next. Then the CEO. They wanted to talk. To clarify. To explore options. They floated the idea of reversing the termination. I laughed. Termination already occurred. The clause had triggered. There was no rewind. By evening, systems started failing. Authentication services timed out. Payment gateways stalled. Legacy systems no one fully understood began collapsing under their own undocumented complexity. The knowledge Caitlin had stripped away was suddenly very expensive. The next morning, James called again. If they pay you out, they risk breaching debt covenants. The acquisition they're negotiating could fall apart. 65 million is a rounding error compared to what this could cost them. What do they want? I asked. Silence, he said. And time. They got neither. An internal audit leaked that afternoon. A spreadsheet titled Cost Optimization Targets. Every employee over 40. Every name tied to unvested equity. A pattern. A strategy. Caitlin hadn't acted alone. She'd been executing orders. The SEC took notice. By Friday, the board was calling emergency meetings. The CEO resigned. Caitlin was suspended. Lawyers billed at emergency rates. The stock dropped like a stone. And still, the systems kept failing. Phil, the VP of engineering, called me directly. Rachel, we need help. Things are breaking that no one knows how to fix. My consulting rate is $10,000 an hour, I said. 4-hour minimum. He swore. Then wired the money. I fixed the issue in 15 minutes. Spent the remaining time documenting everything they should have known already. By the following week, the SEC had opened a formal investigation. Caitlin flipped. She handed over emails, recordings, directives straight from the top. The generals who gave the orders were finally exposed. They settled with me quietly. Full payout. Interest. No NDA. And a written commitment to reinstate employees terminated under the same strategy. People got their jobs back. With raises. 6 months later, I stood in front of the same building, addressing an all-hands meeting at the invitation of a new CEO. Not as an employee. Not as a consultant. But as a reminder. Experience isn't overhead, I told them. It's infrastructure. And when you rip it out to save money, the whole system eventually collapses. They called me the clause after that. A joke. A warning. I didn't mind. Because the truth is simple. Contracts matter. Knowledge matters. People matter. And sometimes the most powerful move in corporate chess isn't revenge. It's patience. Thank you for listening to this story. If you've ever been underestimated at work, targeted for being too expensive, or told your experience no longer mattered, I want to hear from you. Drop a comment below and tell me where you're watching from. If this story resonated with you, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who needs to hear it. Until next time, remember this. Your experience has value. And sometimes, the best revenge is simply enforcing the contract they forgot they signed.